Right, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right. What's up, people? Huh? We're back. How's everybody doing? My goodness, you're all in here before I am. You guys are good. Get the notification before I do. Shit. Wow. All right. So tonight we're gonna get into some nitty and gritty of some of the things that I've come across in my research investigating the case. I want to welcome everyone to Walsh, my goodness, G Money, Beverly Palmer, Vegas Girl. Got a lot of people showing up in here, and that's cool. Much love to everyone. Just give me a mic check right about now so that we can just get into why we're here. Mic check number one is good. Mic check number two is coming in like lousy. Let me know. Let me know. Top Top Brady, how are you? Let me know how we're sounding. So, the title of tonight's video is apparent because this is an area that really needs to be delved into, properly in order to have people understand what they're looking at. Remember, perception plays a very important part as to the video content that you're looking at from different content creators. Rosalind Gentry, how are you? Linda Truman, much love to you. So when you're watching video content from a content creator that's, been following the case, you want to make sure that you're there for your reasons and your reasons only. When I say that, it's either you're there for information that you didn't have, or you're going to find out that it's information you already have. If that makes sense, and it should. Type of one. Let me know my mic is working before we begin because I have a lot to go over. I don't want to spend a lot of time tonight. I know my lives have been a little bit long, but I don't come on here like every day. So when I do, I make sure that the time is worth it to the best of my abilities. So if you can hear me, type of one, and then we can get on with it. Much luck to everybody in the chat. Good to see everybody. Hope everybody's doing well, staying away from coronavirus and all this other nonsense that other people has got our minds hooked on. I know that everybody in my family is doing good, and we haven't seen or heard about any flare-ups regarding people getting sick and falling out and all this other stuff that they're trying to make us believe. Remember, we have to understand that when there is a narrative that's put before us, when there is a narrative of any kind, I don't care, take Kenneka Jenkins case or the coronavirus or, the president, anybody, we get the information and then we do our due diligence to begin to decipher how that information is going to affect us. That's you and me. We don't make a decision and we don't make a move without getting the facts. And that makes sense. So, Beverly Palmer, thank you. All right. Tamika Harris, how are you? Glad you can join us. Tony G, welcome. So, and that's with anything, you know, as parents, we do the same thing. We are not going to make a move until we find out what the facts are regarding our child, whether they be at school or at camp or at a friend's house or across the street at the neighbor's house. We're not going to do it. Get the facts first. Make sure they're solid. That way you make an informed decision based upon the facts, nothing else. And believe me, that's been a hard issue with this case. KK Ma 2018, how are you? Glad for you to join us. Kimberly Wilson, CJ Jones, thank you. When it comes down to those type of situations, we want to be sure that we make the best informed decision that we can, because it's going to affect the outcome. That makes sense. It should make sense. When we make a decision based upon the outcome, it should make sense. It should make sense. Cynthia Sin, much love to you. Hey, Q. BBK, one of my moderators are in the room. Much love to BBK. If you haven't subscribed to her channel, BBK is a very extraordinary woman who has a channel that really keeps us on post and up to date with a lot of the current events and news situations, whether it be political, social, current events, whatever. She covers it. And yeah, if you guys don't know BBK, say hello. Much love to her. And subscribe. I am. And we had a nice little conversation just, 48 hours ago on her channel. And it was in regards to some information regarding the case. So, BBK, much love to you. Thank you for joining us. But as I was saying, in order for you to make an informed decision, you get all the facts. All the facts. Aisha, welcome. Iris Fox, welcome. So that you can make an informed decision. So tonight, I'm just going to get into a couple of areas as, I guess, the start of a series. I think this may, because it's just too long to really cover in one or two lives. So I'm going to be getting into a series in regards to the evidence and the narratives. The evidence and the narratives. The facts versus the fiction. And the only reason why is because after 3 years of covering the case, there's been a lot of fiction that's been out there behind the case. Lots of it. Fiction from Facebook, fiction from YouTube, fiction from Snapchat, Instagram, etc. So I guess my job here tonight to begin with is to begin to decipher the facts from the fiction, just so that we can maintain the integrity of how the story unfolded to begin with, if that makes sense. Because the way the story has been unfolding over the last 3 years, it's been absolutely incredible. If anybody asks you, what do you believe about the Kenneka Jenkins case, you would be all over the place. And in most cases, people would be. They don't know whether to believe this or that or this or that. They try to get their news from wherever they can get it, whether it be Facebook or YouTube or anybody else covering the case. But it's been, tooth and nails trying to stay on top of the facts. And that's why I say the facts are provable. All facts are provable. Tanya Daniels, how you doing? T Breezy, how are you? Thank you for joining us. So tonight, I'm going to begin to, I guess, go over some material that I wanted to, I would say, the last couple of months. I wanted to go over some material that has caught my eye, and we need to focus in on it to begin to keep our minds on the facts of the case versus the fiction that's out there in the social media that can throw people off, you know. Uh, Number one, if anything new is coming out of the case, it will come from Teresa Martin. First and foremost, if anything new comes out of this case, it will come from Miss Teresa Martin. She's currently undergoing a negligence case in a court proceedings in regards to what happened to her daughter. So if there's anything brand new that's going to be showing up, it's going to come from Teresa Martin. And that's what we're all waiting for. In the meantime, we can go over the evidence and the narratives and the facts and the fiction of the case, until kingdom comes, you know. And where you get your information from is most vitally important. And I'm sure that for all of you who have covered this case over the last 3 years and have gone from channel to channel to channel to channel to channel, just following the case and seeing what's up with this particular person, giving their opinion, because that's all we can do. We can give our opinions as to what we see and how we understand it versus anything that is absolute fact. And I guess that's part of what I'm going to be covering tonight is what I'm going to show and share with you is for you to decide, not for me to decide for you. It's for you to decide. There are those on, YouTube and social media that want to fill in the blanks for you. And to do so is not sanitary because that would be like putting words in your own mouth, and that's never sanitary. When people try to put words in your own mouth and they're not yours, it's never sanitary. Not without your consent. Not without your consent. So that to begin with, let's get started. So to get started with, I hope everybody's doing well. Like I said before, welcome. I'm going to be covering some information tonight and going over, I would say, a series of points and parts about the case that's important to stay relevant and to keep relevant during our time, so that this way, when Teresa Martin comes out with the news that her case has been resolved and she has concluded with the negligence case, we're all going to find out about it. And we're all going to be talking about it. And then we're all going to be talking about what her next move is after she concludes her findings in her negligence case. Anybody with common sense would realize that. So once again, that's an important part. And so to begin with, let's go here and we can begin. Iris Fox, how are you? I caught you. I caught you. Glad that you can make it. Let me go to screen share to begin tonight's presentation. And please, give me some time to get through these pages because you know how YouTube is and it's real slow at times and whatnot. But to begin with, I wanted to give a major shout out to my brother. He calls me the Godfather, but I call him my close brother, who's really covered the case and in a way that is very memorable because he's a spiritual brother. And if you've come across his channel, by all means, you know what I'm talking about. I'm just waiting for YouTube to, kind of like bring him on as usual, but we'll take our time and bring up the one and only, the intimate arrival of Boss Blake and his channel. For those of you who know Boss Blake, you know what I'm talking about. For those of you who don't know Boss Blake, he is one of a kind. That is for sure. And we talk on the phone privately from time to time, and we shoot a lot of, some great thoughts and information off to each other regarding the case. And as a content creator, both in music and in the entertainment field, he's taken his time out to also cover some facts as he sees them on the case and tries to give you the relevant information and stay away from, the garbage. Garbage. So much love to you, Boss Blake. With that said, let me see if I can find what Boss Blake had done for the J4K community and really lit a fire under in our hearts, since the passing of Kenneka Jenkins back in 2017. So I'm just going to share this with you and just give us a moment to commemorate Kenneka Jenkins and the love that we have for her and her family and all of the good outcomes that this case is definitely headed toward. So much love to you, Boss Blake, for putting this together. To coordinate this and to get this on, let me tell you, it's a masterpiece, and pretty much it'll go down in the J4K community as a piece of history nobody can refute. So with that said, I'm just going to pull it up and let's give a listen to what Boss Blake put together, and then we will begin tonight's presentation. I don't know if he's in here. Is Boss Blake?
I still when we first heard, it was crazy. The shit really struck a nerve. I really couldn't sleep. I was lost for words. They threw the sink at us. They threw a bunch of curves. In the beginning, a lot of us learned. They just left Kenneka to burn. They wasn't even concerned. Some reason that people should learn. Risa gotta be hurt. So think about this shit was yours. Another life taken too soon. It's not about black and white when it's a blue moon. J4K is the movement, and we can't let no motherfuckers try to ruin it. You don't believe what you're doing here, and you will never hear me speak on no foolishness. Cause we all want justice. I'm fed up. I had enough of all the tough shit. And why don't you show us some love? He was one of us, and I'm still gonna keep making the fuss. We waking them up, we make them level it up. They really devilish, guess they thought that we would give it up. No sir, not me. I'm in it for the ride. Ain't no faking by me. Rest in peace to Kenneka. On God, we ain't leaving. J4K. Hey, salute to all the J4K community, man. John Q, IHQ, 54 Keys, Chloe, K.I. Koreans Harris. Yeah. Clark Avenue. Easy. Hell of a chick. Straight drop. Her divine light. Beast beauty. Brown eyes. Humongous D. Candace Star. Duke Murdoch. Scoop Game. Unfair. Okay. Shout out to Rebel TV. Truth for reality. We're at it. Watch out, squad. What's good, fam? Money stacks. TV. On the rapper. What's good, homie? And definitely I want to say rest in peace to Zach TV. And anybody I might have missed, forgive my mind. With my heart in the right place. Remember that. Y'all stay focused. Use logic. And all that messy shit, keep it out the door. Boss Blake, I'm gone.
Yeah. Thank you, boss Blake. Much love to you. One and only boss Blake. Thank you so much for giving us a piece of the hard work that that we've all covered in this case. And so I see you, BBK. Much love to you. Let's get to another YouTuber I wanted to give accolades and props to, if we can find him. Got to wait for my little computer to kick in, but once we do, we're off and running. Boss Blake, much love to you for that. And I know that that piece will go down in J4K history as being a classic. You know, short, sweet, to the point. There is another YouTuber I wanted to mention on my channel. I have mentioned her on my channel, but I haven't really, given her the accolades that I know that she deserves. A very hard-working researcher. She's got some background, and the background she has is in the right area, the criminal investigation background, criminal law background. And I wanted to give a special shout out to Hell of a Chick in this pursuit of justice for Kenneka. She has covered a major line of work and body on her channel that is well worth looking into. Definitely well worth looking into. Everything from the narratives, certain aspects of the timeline, the telephone conversations between the Rosemont Police Department within the time of the investigation, a lot of the information pertaining to individual backgrounds that she was able to put on her channel. So a special shout out to Hell of a Chick, doing a hell of a job. And if you're not subscribed to her, please do. You will not be let down in a way that you could deem, no, never mind. She's covering some great information. She's covering true crime investigation cases. It's not only about the Kenneka Jenkins case, but a myriad of different cases to stay up to date as to what's happening as it happens. And so, Hell of a Chick, thank you very much for being a part of what grew my channel, which was the Kenneka Jenkins case. You've done a great job, and you're expanding your platform in a way to where it becomes a very special platform indeed when it comes to specific cases, George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, and a number of other different cases that are coming to current date. So Hell of a Chick, much love to you. I hope you will decide to do a live with me to cover some Kenneka Jenkins facts as you've covered them. It'd be great to have you on my platform from where you've come from and the hard work that you've done, and to shine you out on YouTube and all of the tremendous work that you've been doing. Only says that that's what you just deserve. So much love to you, Hell of a Chick. Is she in here? Because every time I shout out people, they all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, John Q is like, okay, where's he at? He's got my name in his mouth. And if that's good, it's good. It's all good. If I shout you out on my channel, it's all good. It's all good. So that said, let's move on, because we've got a number of things to really cover. I want to get to. getting to it. Ow. Let's go here. Okay, did I come back? Did I come back? Testing, 1, 2, 3. My goodness, what the hell happened? Type of one in the room if I came back. Type of one in the room if I came back. Did I come back? Yes, I'm back. Okay, daggone. I didn't even get into my stuff tonight. And YouTube's like, oh man, he's just going all out. Am I back? Okay. Yes, you see my pic. Thank you, DeWalsh. Oh, okay. First time that happened. Gee whiz. Only trying to talk to you. All right. Midwest Queen. Thank you. Aisha, thank you. Dan Burdine, thank you. J Money. Michael Booth. Renita Drayton, thank you. All right. So let's see if we can do this again. What I was doing was giving, go to screen share once again, because we got to go to screen share tonight. We're not doing this. Kimberly Wilson, thank you. Trudy Williams, thank you. Iris Fox, thank you. Hi, BBK. Let's see. You still can't hear me. BBK, give me a thumbs up if you can. BBK is my moderator. She's also a content creator on YouTube. So, BBK, give me a thumbs up. Come on now. Everybody else seems to be okay right now. So, start again. Start again. Okay, Kimberly Wilson says, yeah, okay, we're good to go. All right, so let me come back over here. See if you all can see that. See what happens. Okay, we can hear you. Okay, BBK gives me a thumbs up. Good. One thing about YouTube and StreamYard, it takes about 10 seconds to actually transfer the data from one location to the next. So we got to be patient based upon the content that we're talking about and the content that we're trying to show while we're talking about it. There is like a little bit of a 10 to 15-second lag time between the time that I post it and the time you actually see it. So, all right. So, like I was saying before I got cut off, shout out to Clark Avenue, a YouTuber that has really put out some work on this case and covered it in a way that has got my attention to say that's someone to really keep an eye on when it comes to presenting content and in a way that is uh, complementary to the evidence and the facts of the case rather than anything of an outside narrative, so to speak. Okay. Yes, welcome everyone. Thank you, BBK. All right, so that's where I was. Trying to give shout outs. My goodness. YouTube is like, trying to block me from giving shout outs. Not good, not good. But there was a content creator that had covered this case. I'll bring him up in a minute. And was able to put together quite a project that I wanted to also compliment and give a major shout out to because a lot of my work I had studied from what they were able to put together in its entirety. And if you haven't been to this particular content creator's page, see if I can get him up. If you haven't been to this particular content creators page, I suggest you go there. Um, and this particular content creator spent hours, literally hours, putting together a multicam presentation of showing us the various different. Uh-oh, uh-oh. I just had him up here. Okay, well, deleted, 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 deleted. What's up? Right. Well, I was going to give Alex a shout out, but it looks like his channel is down. Something happened. Hopefully, I can do it later. All right. Was able to put together some content that helped us to identify timelines. The evidence of this case that we basically, come across to cover is the information from the media, how it was brought to our attention, up until we found out from both Facebook and YouTube as to what happened in regards to the lives that were released, and that is Irene's live and Ty's live, came out pretty much one behind the other. And then we heard more information as to how this case began to unfold on the media and what the Rosemont Police Department, who investigated the case, was doing. So tonight, I just wanted to bring to your attention, I guess, pieces of what I tried to cover in my last live in regards to some of the evidence that we've been looking at in regards to legitimacy, originality, and genuineness. And the evidence that we have tonight is most definitely the video surveillance footage. Is a major part of the evidence because that is a visual that we can see. It was information given by the Crown Plaza Hotel over to the Rosemont Police Department to continue their death investigation at the time. And I'm sure that we have looked at video segments and pieces of Kenneka entering the hotel, going down the food court, coming out the pass elevator on the lower level, walking inebriated in the lower level hallways up until she got into the East Kitchen, walking in two different places in the East Kitchen, and then finally in the lower level bathroom. When she's stumbling, she bangs into the rail. It appears as though that she goes into the men's bathroom, comes back out, looks like she was manipulated in some way, shape, or form to be pushed and pulled and then pushed forward to go back down to the back down the hallway in the lower level, only to end up in an upper level or the main floor of that area in the back of the hotel called the Kosher Kitchen, where we see her enter a kitchen and disappear behind a wall past a cooler doorway and conduit area that was open. Never to see her walk out of that area again, and then the video surveillance footage cuts off. That's what we got. In a snippet, according to the video surveillance footage, that's what we got. Analyzing the information that we do have, we could see a lot of different things about it that questions its authenticity and its genuineness. That's for sure. And one of the areas of contention that we've had for a long time is the video surveillance footage itself. How it was captured, snippets that we received, a lot of the different edited portions that we received from the news was one thing, but actually to go to the Rosemont Police Department's public safety website and go to the Freedom of Information Act link, and that would take you to the Kenneka Jenkins death investigation, and all of the case files are in there. You begin to really see a lot of the information on that website. And wow, I could say shattered glass, I think that would be the best terminology to say that's what you'll find on the website. It's shattered glass all over the place. And it's files after files after files after files after files after files on that website that could take you quite some time to get through, if you know what I mean, for those of you that have visited that area. But let's get to the point. Take a look at something. We can hopefully show this. I hope so. And then we can begin. I can share my screen and give you an idea. And here you'll see what was given to us from that website according to the FOIA request that was made out. And rendered, given to us for public access. We're able to see a copy of what was given to the Rosemont Police Department's Public Safety Department on their website. And the information that we were given at that time only covers a very limited area of what we actually trying to get this thing to speed up a little bit so that this way we don't come too much of the lag time. And Fractional Truth, which was one of the content creators on YouTube, was able to get a FOIA request sent in and received to get this information posted on his website in order to present as I'm presenting it tonight. So I'm just trying to get through this as best as possible so that this way, you know, we can get to the meat of the potatoes here. Okay. And so we see that the girls entered the southwest entrance at the Crown Plaza Hotel on September 8th, actually September 9th of 2017, the morning of September the 9th, 2017. To go to Irene's birthday party / kickback. Hopefully you can see the rest of this. I'll try to speed it up as best as I can so that I can get down to what I want to get to. And these video clips we've seen over and over, and over again. Tells a story. And tells a story in such a way that it leads us to believe what we see is true. However, what we're told is something different. What's happened to Kenneka is something different. What's going on with Kenneka during this time is something different. And as you can see, once again, this is what they've given us. The next clip. Many people believe that Kenneka was alone as the narrative unfolded. Many believe that she wasn't alone as the narrative unfolded. Many believe that the video surveillance footage has been edited, redacted, changed, modified as this unfolded. A point to where what we're seeing, what we're hearing are two different things. Two different things. And hence the contention of the case lies here. Why does it look like one thing while something else is being said about it? And a lot of people are still puzzled as to what to really believe in this case. Let me just get to this particular part a little bit behind. How this thing all happened, how the time all screwed up. A lot of information doesn't seem to make sense. A lot of it, video images is blurred to the point to where you really can't identify and see what we need to see. This is the evidence. This is what we've been given. And once again, thank you to Factual Truth and a number of other content creators that have taken the time out to make sure that this footage got captured on their channel. And this one comes from Slick Lit, early back in October of 2017. But to see this video footage over and over again and to try to make sense out of it is one thing. And that's what we all have been trying to do, trying to make sense out of everything that we see. And as you can see it unfold, it becomes a story in your mind based on your perception and your own questions as to what actually occurred or happened to Kenneka at the Crown Plaza Hotel. 45 CP, welcome. All right, so with a little bit of a preliminary, I just wanted to cover just the essence of everything that we've been given in snippets. The investigation of the Rosemont Police Department at the Crown Plaza Hotel on September the 9th into the early morning of the 10th plays a very critical role in the evidence that has been captured and the evidence that has been given by the Rosemont Police Department. And taking a look at what they have given, it says a lot about what Crown Plaza and the Rosemont Police Department have in common. It says a lot as to why this police officer showed up in the upper kitchen at the time he did with the food and beverage manager, assistant food and beverage manager, and took it upon himself actually manipulate a crime scene before anybody else got there. And you can actually see what should not have been shown, but is shown. This police officer, by himself in the upper kitchen, manipulating a crime scene, not knowing he was on camera, did so. And you'll see evidence of that in a second. I believe that this particular part of the death investigation was premeditated and staged. That's just my opinion. Knowing that there was a video surveillance camera in this upper kitchen and everyone acting accordingly as to how they showed up at a crime scene. And with your own eyes, you can see it. How they entered, what they did, where they were, what kind of protective gear they wore, if any, and how they conducted themselves throughout the whole investigative process to process this crime scene. All right, so I'm going to stop it right here. Freeze it. And we have to ask ourselves, what are they allowing us to look at? Let me go back over that again. What are they allowing us to look at? Is it the actual crime scene? Or has this crime scene been timed to be looked at in a way that makes up the crime scene itself? It was told to me from a very reliable source that Kenneka was found several hours before we actually see this footage. I believe that. Kenneka wasn't found a little after 12 on the 10th at 12:24. She was found more closer to the hour of the 10th hour, between 10 o'clock and 10:30. Once she was found and located, then it was a matter of what to do. It was a matter of how did you want to reveal this particular information? How did you want the true discovery to look like? How did you want it to be? And the only people who can answer that question is the Crown Plaza Hotel, because they had a lot to lose. Remember, they're a business. And the last thing business needs is bad publicity. And in this case, a death investigation, a murder investigation, especially with a hotel that's in a contractual agreement with a brand new business called the Murray Brothers Caddyshack Restaurant, coming on board within a couple of months after the renovations had taken place in this particular area. Well, yeah, there was a lot at stake. There's a lot at stake. And so, how do you want the narrative to be told? How do you want your side of the story to be told without losing your income? Right? You don't want to lose your job. You don't want to lose the income. Hell, you're working full time at a full time job and you're trying to pick up a part time job to make ends, extra money so that this way you can cover your budget. How do you do that without compromising anything else? And you have to take a look at that from the point of the Crown Plaza Hotel being a business. How do you tell this story from a business point of view and protect yourself at the same time? Well, you get yourself some people that can help you to do so. And in this case, the Rosemont Public Safety website has that information. Police department at the Crown Plaza Hotel contacted has that information. They're the ones who are responsible for the narratives. In other words, what's being told. What's being told. The narrative, the story. They're the ones who came up with the story. The Crown Plaza came up with the idea of the story. So when you can see it in that light versus taking a look at the evidence in and of itself, in its entirety, completely, you can begin to see how one part clicks with the next part, clicks with the next part, and so on. And so on. Specifically, this particular part of the narrative, because this is the most important part of the narrative. Crime scene. How did the police get to know of this crime scene? Somebody called them from the Crown Plaza Hotel. Somebody notified them to come to the hotel, report a missing person on the property, and how they conducted themselves in locating this particular person on the property who was missing for well over 17 hours, 21 hours, give or take. And then they find her on the property in an upper kitchen being renovated for a commercial restaurant to show up 2 months later. And we all know who the restaurant owners are. And they're the Murray brothers. They're not just, regular people. So this begins to look like a very high profile case, in which it is. Somebody's covering their investment money, their time investment. And here lies the key in regards to the relationship to the Crown Plaza Hotel and the Rosemont Police Department to protect the Crown Plaza's business interest with the Murray Brothers Caddyshack restaurant. When you can look at this particular piece, then that piece gets filled in properly. Okay. So the video that we've watched, this information on it is one thing. However, I did show, let me see if I can get to it. But I had it up here. Nope. See if I can find it. If I can find it. Give me 1 second. You know how we got to do it. Okay. Gotta go. Okay. When we see raw video footage, as we've seen in the past, I'm going to see if I can locate it. This begins to take a look. Let's see. I think I got to go back. Gotta go back. Hold on. I thought I had it in my my thing here. Let me see if this is it. Okay. Maybe I can do this. Let me see if I can do this. If I can do this. Give me 1 second. It's coming in. And you can go to Fractual Truth's channel and check out video information. See it. But I played this on my last live to show and prove a point. And this point being that the video surveillance footage as we saw it just moments ago is far different than the video surveillance footage that originally existed. One has a double timeline on it, which confused the hell out of everybody. And the original footage that was put out um, way in the beginning by a FOIA request has one timeline on it. And it's called an overlay timeline embedded in the video, if everybody remembers that. Type of one if you can hear me, just so that I know I'm on point. Type of one, type of one, type of one. Give me a one, give me a one. Come on. Yeah. Here we go. All right, so what we see is original video footage that was released early in the beginning of the case. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. That we've all should have seen before it got processed by the Rosemont Police Department. And this is evidence. As you can see it right before you, this is the original video surveillance footage as the security guard who was working at the Crown Plaza Hotel in September of 2017 on the night of the 8th, 9th, and 10th, as the video surveillance footage has been released to us. This is the original video surveillance footage. Please take a snapshot, snap screenshots, or whatever, and remember what it is that you see. This is the southwest entry point to the hotel from the parking lot. And no matter what else you see, remember this particular part because this is the original part. This is the original video surveillance footage before Crown Plaza made a copy, posted it on a hard drive, and gave it over to the Rosemont Police Department. And I'm going to prove it. This is the most another piece of very hardcore evidence that plays a very important part in this case, because what you saw previous to this, why does it look so different? Where is the media player? Where are the buttons on the bottom? Where's the double timestamp? Well, I'm going to disappoint you because there ain't none. Not on the original video surveillance footage. There wouldn't be a media player. It would just be posted up, just like what was posted up during the Kendrick Johnson investigation. I think I've covered that in my last live as well, where you had the video analyzer, the analysis, the people who did the analysis on the video. We all saw one timestamp. We didn't see anything in a video player or anything like that. We saw what we're looking at right now. One timestamp and straight, unedited, raw, cut, original video. And this is what we need to pay attention on because this is, first and foremost, the evidence of the case. Okay. Now, with that said, please keep that in mind. Because what I'm about to show you is what the Rosemont Crown Plaza did to give this video surveillance footage of everything that they had in the hotel over to the Rosemont Police Department for them to analyze regarding their criminal investigation case the death investigation of Kenneka Jenkins. Please remember what's in front of you, because I'm going to ask you a question later. Once again, this is the original, uncut, unedited, raw video surveillance footage that the security guard would have seen at the Crown Plaza Hotel that night into the early morning when Kenneka Jenkins came to this hotel and went missing. So let's get to it. See if I can find it. And we have to give a major shout out to another content creator for actually giving us this information. Together we are strong, and together we are one. Separate, we really know nothing. And one of the content creators on YouTube that I have shouted out on my channel a dozen times, and I'll shout him out again tonight, is a content creator that's taken the time out. How you can convert raw video surveillance footage into what we've seen, and the possible reasons why. So I'm still waiting for this to come up, and hopefully it will. So just be patient with me temporarily, and we can get to it. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Let's go. You can get to it because it's important. Yeah, it's going to go through its little buffering thing. I'm just trying to get to it. I had all my pages lined up, and now I want to get to them so I can play them real quick, and we got to go through this buffering stuff. So please be patient with me, because I'm going to get to my point. This is what takes my damn live so long to get through. You got 3, 4, 5, 6 hour lives, John. My God, I'm not going to go through all that. I don't blame you. I just got to get maybe a faster computer. Trying to get to it. Come on, baby. Come on. All right. Maybe I can access it a different way. Because this is. Okay. And this is the content, so please pay attention. Maybe I can get it. All right. I'm just trying to refresh. And this credit goes to content creator Humongous D, as well as Mr. Jackie Dragon, who covered the same information on his channel. Major shout out to those content creators for putting this kind of work together, because this is the most important part of the case that I wanted to highlight tonight. Still going through this buffering thing, but I had it clicked. Humongous D and Jackie Dragon have been able to really scan through the video surveillance footage in its entirety, understand the software that was involved, which is the Vivotech video surveillance software, along with the media player and all aspects of the computer information and the data that. Okay, let me see if I can kind of speed this up. Okay, all right, I think I got it. I think I got it. Thank you for bearing with me. You know, playing this stuff and doing this stuff is one thing. Being a content creator is another. So hopefully y'all can hear it, and just pay attention to what you see on the screen. You may not be able to hear it, but there's some very important information and text on here. Shout out to Humongous D for putting this together. And he actually goes over the information as to how the exec files came to be.
In the first part of this video, we will guide you through the process of setting up motion recording in a VivoTech camera and setting VAS to record that video. This first section will cover setting up the motion window in the camera's web interface. Put a check next to Enable Motion Detection. Click New. Then attempt to drag the window to cover the entire motion area. The sensitivity configures the amount of color change required in the picture to activate the motion trigger, while the percentage is the amount of the window or the size of the object that is required to activate the motion trigger. This setup is good for testing purposes in close quarters indoor surveillance, but for a higher megapixel camera, it may not be sensitive enough. In that case, let's use 3 windows to make it more sensitive.
Lady Tia, welcome.
These 3 windows work better because the percentage of the window is based on the window size. So a smaller window means a smaller object can activate the motion trigger with the same percentage value. If you wanted to trigger on even smaller objects, you can make the window smaller and place them directly over coverage hotspots. You will need to repeat these steps for each camera you're recording motion with, setting up the motion windows in each camera. When you're finished creating motion windows on the camera end, let's close this window, then bring up VAS Live Client so we may set it for motion recording.
And so the next step in this
You can notice the red boxes in the VAS client showing that the motion window is
it will explain how this video piece will be set up on a live client and
Click
then manipulated
station settings,
into
recording schedule settings.
a file format. And this is the reason for the video
Highlight where it says
presentation
always.
tonight.
On the right, the drop-down will indicate continuous recording. Change it to event. If you want, you could also uncheck all the other triggers except motion.
And this is how you can begin to manipulate what you see.
And then close. We have now set up both aspects required for motion recording in VAST, the motion window on the camera and the event recordings in VAST. Sometimes it's nice to see the results of the setting changes to confirm it worked. So let's do that now. We'll close this window, then check playback's recorded video. Click System, launch playback.
This is a VivoTech information tutorial
Click the plus icons next to the station name, then cameras, then each
being
camera.
presented tonight. And the software that's being used.
In a typical setup, there are multiple recordings listed, indicating different recordings for motion detection. You can also zoom in on the histogram and see the strips of blue and red, indicating red for recorded video and blue for times that aren't recorded. And see the strips of blue and red, indicating red for recorded video and blue for times that aren't recorded. Now for a camera set to continuous recording, we have one time period in the list on the lower right, indicating one continuous recording, along with one solid bar of red surrounded by blue. We have now confirmed our cameras are using the separate recording settings we set for motion and continuous recording.
And now Humongous D is going to tell us exactly what and what's going on and how this process unfolds. Pay careful attention, because Humongous D is going to tell us exactly what transpired. Double timestamps, everything. How this whole video line can be set up and manipulated. Because once we know what they did, then we'll know why they did it. You're welcome, Iris. Major shout out to Humongous D for putting this information together. Then we can begin to understand a lot of what happened with the video surveillance footage going from the Crown Plaza Hotel to the Rosemont Police Department. Once we know exactly what the Crown Plaza did with the content, the original content that we talked about, then we can understand why it took them so long to turn over the content to the Rosemont Police Department for their death investigation. Because as you can see, this looks very technical, but it's a science. Everything can be understood and everything can be proven, as Corinne Harris talked about as a content creator on the case. Much love to Corinne Harris, too. Thank you, D. Walsh.
Next, let's take a look at exporting video clips. The executable, or EXE, is the most commonly used option because a video player is embedded into the playback file. This means that no special driver or video playback software needs to be installed to play back the video on another computer. 3GP is also an option for VLC, QuickTime, or Reel 1 player. And AVI is available for custom codec exports. We'll stick with EXE. The Save To field allows us to change the export location. Below, we can configure the maximum file size, shown here as 1750 megabytes, or we can switch it to a maximum time interval. This function will split up the file into chunks respective to either setting. Now let's export a file using the time slider bar to place the beginning and ending markers. Then we'll click Export EXE to export the file. Based on the settings I changed earlier, it should be located on my desktop. From here, I can double-click it to play it back, attach it to an email, or perhaps copy it to USB key for transfer to another physical location.
Now we're going to be getting into a very important part, so pay attention. There are reasons behind everything. So we're about to find out the reason. You have to understand why video surveillance footage converted from one type of file to another, and then given to the Rosemont Police Department to begin with. Well, this explains it. And when you can see
the software program,
how much information there is
on a timeline,
and you can
and then you can
understand
say,
what
okay, I
you
want
see.
this range to this range, and then hit export, and then it creates an exe file with those motions that you selected.
Files can be manipulated. Won't take that long to do. Once you're able to see exactly how much time it really takes, then we understand the lag time between the Crown Plaza Hotel delivering the information to the Rosemont Police Department. And rather than create a big file, they broke it up into smaller file components and put it on the website. And that's why we have so much to go through. In other words, you bury the evidence. You make it hard for people to follow. And they lose interest. That's part of the psychological makeup of why they did what they did.
Why are there two files of the kitchen manager? Oh, because what happened is I know exactly why that happens. There's a timeline in the VAST software, and there's a user that has to select a range. So they saw the range, and then they saw this other motion that was over here and they clicked on, you can select whatever you want, so even part of a range, and then they export it as an exe file. Then they realized that that motion was actually for the next day. So what they did was they made the 10th have the full motion. But it's amazing how that turned into some really big, oh, see, it can be edited. The only option still out there of something possibly happened, the only possible option is that a surveillance motion, like a motion, was removed and it never made it onto an exe file. That's it. But that's so unlikely because hotels almost always use the NVR recording system, and you'd have to know exactly where the clip was and everything. It just isn't. It's not very likely happen. If there was motion removed, actual motion files, then sure, that's possible.
And when you can see simply how these files can be manipulated, you can then begin to understand why the narrative began to unfold the way it did. And the important thing to remember is that someone said these files cannot be manipulated, but they can. And as Humongous D has shown us and proved to us that they could be, it only makes us realize the evidence that we have in this case is real. The narrative is what we have to question. Boss Blake, how you doing, brother? Thank you for joining us. And so when you can see Humongous D lay this information out based upon in-depth research of the Vivotech software and the camera and the video surveillance footage itself, this begins to make sense.
So you're asking questions I can't give you an answer to there. I said at the beginning of this, I'll answer questions related to the surveillance and video and things like that. If you ask me why somebody didn't do something, I'm not going to answer your question. Oh, why didn't the security guard watch her on the surveillance bank back there? I don't know. He went upstairs at that exact time. Sorry about
that. Okay. And so now we have a better idea to what we see and what we've been watching from a different perspective. And I share that tonight so that this way you can keep in mind every video that you've watched, whether it be on my channel or someone else's channel, and that's fine. What you're watching, what you're looking at, what makes this video component up, how the information is put together, who stored the information, why was it stored that way, why is it given that way. And so from raw video surveillance footage, according to the FOIA request that Factual Truth had requested in October of 2017, and then going to the Rosemont Public Safety website to the case files, and then seeing that raw footage incorporated now into an exec file, such as with a media player and all external components included, you have to ask yourself, why did they change the file in order to put it on the website? Why did they change the file in order to put it on the website? When you look at the Kendrick Johnson case and how the analyst, the video analyzer who did that information for them, when you see what they present that CNN paid for, okay, to have it analyzed, we see one timeline and raw video surveillance footage. I showed that in my last live. Now we see raw footage on John Q's channel, and now we see a different video setup where there's a media player, there's double timelines. We can't tell which time, how this footage was captured, or why this information even exists outside of its original content. Evidence in this case only proves clearly that it has been manipulated. That's the whole point of the live, is to show you with another content creator, not just me, but with another YouTube content creator. Humongous D, major shout out for putting this together. Mr. Jackie Dragon, who's covered this same information on his channel and did an excellent job at covering a confirmation, if you will, of what you just saw. Hence, video surveillance footage can be manipulated, is the case in point. Is the case in point. So now, when you're watching this from anybody's channel, you could see automatically whether you're watching raw footage or manipulated footage that was put out. And I wanted to make sure that I covered that part of this case clearly so that you can identify what it is you're watching, how long it will be you're watching, but really what it is you're watching, because it's so important to the facts in this case. Teresa Martin has got her attorneys doing the same thing, I'm sure. Watching raw video surveillance footage that has been converted to an AVI format where we see just one timestamp to the right and nothing on the left. And then it gets converted to an exec file, such as the information that we've covered here tonight. And now you've got two timestamps. One is an overlay to the left, which is the original timestamp, and another on the media player in the upper right-hand corner, which is the player time. Now, whether you have to incorporate daylight savings time or anything else like that, or system adjustments, I don't think you're going through daylight savings time in September. Daylight savings time doesn't normally happen until we get about the end of October, like now, or the beginning of November. So there couldn't have been a time shift in the system. You see? The client couldn't pick up the daylight savings time in the system until it was daylight savings time that occurred. So we are within the time barrier to where we should see one time on the video surveillance footage. Hence, the original footage having one original time of recording. When you can understand the original time of recording versus system time, the original time a system has recorded it. Hence, we may have a 1 hour to 3 hour time differential. But now taking a look at Humongous D's work, we could see exactly how you can manipulate the video surveillance footage to go from one format to another, add a player to it, and maybe forget to adjust the timeline. Maybe an hour or two, give or take, depending on the location and who's doing it. You see? Now, between New York and Chicago, for example, it's 1 hour difference. I'm ahead of you guys in Chicago. It is now what almost 10:40 here, which would be 9:40 your time. And if I went to California on the west side, guess what? It would be a 3 hour difference. So paying attention to the time coordinates as to how this unfolded, we can automatically see through Humongous D's intelligent research and providing us with this information exactly how this was manipulated. And so hence Crown Plaza had about a little over 48 hours to get a technician in there, whoever they use. And it could have been from the security company, who we don't know. We don't know. To come in there right away and start to isolate every place that Kenneka was and begin to record and copy and manipulate certain video surveillance footage and images in order to distort, in order to cloak, in order to mask, in order to deviate from the original timeline and everything. And hence, after 72 hours, they release it to the public through the media, in which they did. WGN in Chicago got this stuff first. And then all of a sudden on Facebook and YouTube, a couple of girls happen to have come across this news information, and they start saying a whole lot of rigmarole in the video surveillance footage that I presented in the first part of my series. Then you have to ask yourself, is it real or is it fake? Well, if you go back to part one, you'll see what they saw. If you come to date where we are right now, well, you just seen something you've never seen. And I highly recommend that those that really follow this case subscribe to Humongous D. He's got a library of his case files regarding this case on his channel. Mr. Jackie Dragon has done the same thing, and he's followed the police. He's followed the search. He's followed when Teresa Martin got there. He's followed the various different aspects of this case in its entirety. In its entirety. And when you can get as close as we are right now to where we are right now, then nothing can be pulled over your eyes. No content creator, I don't care how good they are at editing, can mess with you, because we have a number of them out there on YouTube messing with you. And as long as I'm here, and I said I'm here for the long haul, I come across something that's important, I'm going to present it. I'm going to give you the facts as they are. I'm not going to tell you what they are. You're going to come to your own conclusion, as you should. I view every one of my subscribers and anyone looking at my content as an intelligent human being, knowing that they know how to discern facts from fiction. And in this case, when we talk about the evidence, well, it's real simple. The narrative doesn't match the evidence. The facts are different than the fiction. Does that make sense? Type of one. If anything that I've covered with you tonight makes sense, type of one. Type of one. Because if it has, then I've done my job, as I've always tried to do. I'm not here to waste your time. I'm here to give you something maybe you don't have, or maybe that you may have overlooked. Once again, thank you, Humongous D, for putting this great information out pertaining to aspects of this case that has, really puzzled us, sent us, left field. I try to do my best. Boss Blake tries to do his best. 54 Keys try to do her best. Painting Truth try to do her best, as well as we all have. All good content creators should do their best. Why not? Because if we're able to make sense out of this case, we get closer to the truth than we realize. And as much as now you've received tonight, you are much closer to a truth that maybe somebody else has not gotten to yet. Buffering here. Gotta stop that. See if I can get it going. But and that's what it's really all about. So what it comes down to, once again, is perception plays a very important role. Yours, not mine. I can only share with you what I'm presenting, but it's up to you to make the intelligent decision based upon okay, it's closer to the truth. They let me than anything that they may have told me is. And when you can get someone who can activate their intelligence in that way, you can never be tricked. All right, so this is buffering a bit. Try to get past this stuff here. So I say that to get to this. As my final point tonight, I really didn't want to take a long time, but let's take a look. Here we go. Boom. All right. Once it comes up, it will be up. Now we get to a narrative, because we have to double check what has been presented. Let's take a look at that narrative from the Crown Plaza's perspective and see if it matches up. Only makes sense, right? Only makes sense. All right. So what I have in front of you is a narrative that was created by Detective Anthony Delacova of the Rosemont Police Department, who covered the case. And I hope you can see that. Type of one if you can see it. I think I have it big enough. I don't know if I need to make it larger. See if I can make it larger. Get it. Type of one if you can see it. I don't know. Let's see if I can make it larger. Nope. Y'all can see that? I hope y'all can see that. All right, let me see if I can do it. Okay. Over. Okay. Now, if y'all can't see that, then heck, y'all gonna need a computer screen. Bigger, please. Okay. Get it as big as I can. All right. I want to lose the borders. All right. So let me do this. All right. And drop it down. 150. Let's go back up. Let me go 175. Maybe that might be it. Okay. Can y'all see that? Okay, great. All right. Hope y'all can see that. Hey, you went full screen, Cha-Cha. I hear you. All right, so now you see it. I'm using Adobe. Oh, I can't do anything. All right, so here you have the report. Okay, Iris says nice. Okay, so here you have the report from Detective Anthony Delacova, who was the lead detective investigator on the Kenneka Jenkins case. During the time, he was contacted by Sergeant Rose of the Rosemont Police Department to go to the Crown Plaza Hotel to investigate the death investigation of Kenneka Jenkins. Okay, so here we have one of his reports that was entered in on October 14th, just 4 days after they found her by Detective Delacova. And you can begin to read exactly what his report is all about. So, in taking a look at his narrative, in which this is, we're going to begin to slide down the narrative so you can begin to read what Detective Anthony Delacova reported into the reporting system at the Rosemont Police Department in order to follow the case with notes. Detective Delacova, badge number 1444, requested Detective Lieutenant Much, 1428, to meet with representatives from the Crown Plaza Hotel and walk the believed path. I like when they say that, the believed path, almost meaning they assumed she walked the path she walked, coming from their perspective. Anyway, the believed path Kenneka Jenkins took from the ninth floor to the freezer when she was discovered. I asked Lieutenant Much to identify any potential surveillance cameras that would have captured Kenneka's movements and count how many cameras he observed to ensure we obtain all possible camera angles of Kenneka. Okay. After doing so, we discovered some surveillance cameras at the hotel were not operable. We requested the Crown Plaza provide us with a list of inoperable cameras. Subsequently, I like that word, subsequently. Subsequently, that means afterwards or after the fact. General manager for the Crown Plaza Hotel provided us with a list of inoperable cameras, including their identifier numbers, if known, the date discovered inoperable, and the date repaired. All right, so let's see what Delacova found out on the 14th. He found out, according to his walkthrough with Lieutenant Much, the following cameras were listed as inoperable. Kosher Kitchen Stairs, which is a dock entrance, the freight elevator, which is the lower level freight, not on the main floor, but down below where we saw Kenneka on camera, the main elevator, where we see the no camera footage on the main floor, but we do see the lower level pass elevator cameras covering those elevators, back office, the employee parking area, and laundry 2. The above listed cameras, except for laundry 2, were discovered inoperable on what? The 14th of September, the same day they did the walkthrough. Laundry room 2 camera was discovered inoperable on the 21st of September of 2017. Hmm. Kind of puts a pivot in this narrative. On on September 14th, how would you know about Laundry Room 2 camera being discovered inoperable on the 21st when you're putting in the report on the 14th? Okay, so let's continue. As of the date, Sheriff Jacobson provided our agency with the document on September 29th of 2017. The cameras were still inoperable except for the kosher kitchen stairs, which means the dock entrance, and the freight elevator, the lower level freight. Both cameras were repaired when? On September 14th by Century 21. Wow, the same day they were there, found out that those cameras were not working. You mean to tell me that the Crown Plaza only had 2 cameras repaired after the police had investigated a number of cameras out? Just 2? Just 2? Copy of the report provided by blank titled Inoperable Cameras Summary is attached to this file. So now we have to say, okay, there's a report attached to this file that will confirm what Anthony Delacova researched and found out on the 14th based on this report. Now, let's go back one more time to the top. This was once again reported in October. In October. All right, so, wow, a little over a month. Yeah. No, right there. No. Trying to find it for you. Here we go. Okay. Wow. September the 10th. September the 10th is when they found Kenneka's body. Wow. You mean to tell me? I've got this as blown up as I can. Let's see if I can shorten it up. I think that would be it. You mean to tell me that Detective Anthony Delacova waited almost a month, at least thereof, from the time they found Kenneka, requested the information regarding the inoperable cameras during the time they did the walkthrough, and the hotel provided that information to them on September the 29th. How many days is that from the time they found Kenneka? Anybody know? From September 10th to September 29th. How many days is that? How many days is that? That's a number of days. 10th to the 29th. Wow. So we are talking about 19 days? Yeah. Fire Mama, 411. Yeah. 19 days. I'm waiting for a report from you regarding inoperable cameras so I can finish my report. And you mean to tell me you took 19 days to do so? Not within 24 hours, not within 48, 72, 120. You took 19 days? Wow, what a coincidence. Kenneka was 19 as well. You took 19 days to make a report of inoperable cameras Oh man, I messed that up. Let me see. I gotta blow it back up. I'm sorry. My hand hit the. Oh, you got to see this with your own eyes, folks. Okay, September 29th, Crown Plaza O'Hare, inoperable camera summary, as Delacova said. And here are the inoperable cameras. Now we take a look at the date. So far, the date discovered all matches. Kosher Kitchen on the 14th with an identifier number. Freight elevator, lower level, on the 14th with an identifier number. And we get to the main elevator on the 14th and no identifier number. Back office on the 14th, no identifier number. Employee parking on the 14th, no identifier number. And then we have laundry 2 on the 21st, no identifier number. Now watch this. Date repaired by Century 21. 9/14/2017, Kosher Kitchen, okay. 9/14, freight elevator, lower level, okay. Same date discovered, same date repaired. And now look at the other cameras. Remember, this is a report as of September 29th. And you mean to tell me that from the date discovered inoperable up until the 29th, when they sent this report to the Rosemont Police Department, they still haven't fixed 4 cameras? They still didn't fix 4 cameras? And most people call this a 4-star hotel that still has main cameras out from the time that they were discovered. So hence we see Crown Plaza's negligence in this whole setup. And this is why covering the evidence and the narratives, because we're going to find a lot in the evidence and the narratives once we put them together. And then we can begin to see a broader, bigger picture as to who the Crown Plaza really is, how much they really care about the guests and the patrons to their hotel establishment, what the Murray Brothers Caddyshack restaurant really doesn't know about them. Maybe. Inoperable cameras in a place of business from 9/14 all the way up until they wrote the report, they still wasn't fixed. I mean, that blows my mind to see that. And not a lot of people maybe know that, but now you do. But just to see a portion, a part of the negligence that Teresa Martin's attorneys are going after, we can see what happened. We can see what happened. And this is more evidence to show that Teresa Martin's got her negligence case wrapped up. Because if a hotel is going to be this negligent when it comes to security, and this kind of information has been posted about it, yeah, they don't look too good. They don't. But outside of that, this is where, damn, I wouldn't say contempt, but this is where it really undermines a lot of what Crown Plaza tries to say, post up, or admit they did. On the outside, they did the best they could. They had the Rosemont Police Department to help and investigate and yada, yada, yada. We're doing all we can. We want to help the family and all this other rigmarole, and only to find out through their own admission how they've handled this case and what they were able to give to Rosemont Police Department. I said in my last live, and I think this is going to be a key word that everybody's going to begin to remember. He who controls the evidence controls the narrative. He who controls the evidence controls the narrative. Type of one if you got that. Type of one. I control the evidence. I can tell you anything. It's my story and nobody else's. If I can have certain people write this up the way I need to, I'm going to protect myself because I'm a business. And since I have a multi-billion-dollar business hooking up with another multi-billion-dollar business, I'm not going to have a little somebody's death mess me up. I'm not going to do it. Okay, we're sorry that, she lost her life. Okay, we're sorry that she ended up in one of our hotels. But we're not going to admit that, is what the Crown Plaza said. We're not going to admit that. We're not messing up our money, our income, so to speak. And then behind the scenes, we only find out what Humongous D showed us. That really makes sense out of the video surveillance footage now. When you see it with a media player and all this other stuff with the double timestamp. From its raw footage, original state. Now you cannot be tricked. And now you can go back to those other channels that you visited and see what they show you. See what they tell you about what you just found out. And I don't care what you try to do, this information will not leave your mind because now you know. When I found it, that's why I'm not dumbfounded. You can't be. If you're looking at it with your own two eyes and you're coming to your own conclusions, as you should, based on your own intelligence, yeah, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to find out how this evidence was manipulated. Video surveillance footage, along with the narrative, stories, and then when you pop on YouTube or Facebook or social media, you find out how really manipulated the narrative gets. All we're trying to do is to keep the story right where it originated from. And that's right here in documents, in video surveillance footage, in the evidence. Because the evidence versus the narratives is what's critical to this case. Facts versus the fiction. What you heard is one thing. What you see is another. I hope I was able to bring some clarity in just this one area. Just this one area. So that this way going forward, it won't be too difficult for anyone to really follow the facts of this case versus follow a narrative of this case that has nothing to do with the case to begin with. Really, much love to everyone in the chat, for joining me tonight so that I can begin to break this down in a way that I've never broken this stuff down before and bring you something that we've all been watching, but how carefully we watch it, how carefully are we looking at it to make sense. I hope that this helps. And big shout out to all of the content creators that I've mentioned on here, because this is who I follow. The content creators that are close to the heartbeat, more closer to the truth, than anything else that's been presented out here that claims to be the truth or a fact. And when you can break it down, hopefully the way I did tonight, like I said, you can't get mixed up and messed up. You can't get mixed up and messed up. Anyway, if there are any questions, anybody has anything they want to add, I think I took a little over 2 hours to really, get into this. I'm going to be coming back with lives pertaining to the evidence and the narratives in such a way that helps. 54 Keys did a magnificent job in her video series covering the evidence and the narratives. I love what she did. Hell of a chick. I was about to say hell of a truth, but hell of a chick. She's a hell of a truth. Also did the same thing. Boss Blake did the same thing. Mungus D absolutely broke this thing down for anyone to understand. Mr. Jackie Dragon did a tremendous job on his channel regarding this case. I have questions. Another phenomenal channel that has done excellent work in really giving us a viewpoint, a close-up viewpoint as to overlooked evidence by the Rosemont Police Department. What they failed to analyze. Why did they give Teresa Martin, Kenneka Jenkins' belly ring, her watch, and the little scrunchie during the time of the investigation? Why did they do that? Even though it was turned over by the Evanston Funeral Home people that collected Kenneka to take her to the medical examiner's office, why did they give her that and yet none of her clothes back to Kenneka, to Teresa Martin? No clothes or anything. Sneakers, her Jordans. What happened to Kenneka's identification? That was never mentioned in the case at all. She was driving that night, remember? So if Chicago police happen to pull her over because, going back home and she doesn't look like she's driving too well, what sort of identification would Kenneka have to present to them if they weren't found on her body or in the car? More questions. Why wasn't that ever presented by the Rosemont Police Department? Why did they selectively choose to give us information versus just give us the information? You ask yourself these questions and you'll get down to the root of the answers, because they were very simple, because they would be questions that any parent would ask about their child, especially ending up in the condition that Kenneka ended up in. And when you don't have answers, that's what you begin to fight for. You're looking for whatever answers you get to make sense. Anybody would. Anybody would. And for those of you still looking for answers, let me just do one more little thing before I wrap it up. If I want to do that, nope. I did that. Where'd I go? Okay, I think I covered everything. I'm not going to get back into that, but yeah, Humongous Dig, you did a great job. Great job. Okay, so with that said, I hope I covered what I needed to cover. And tonight, screen share mode, and say to everyone still following the case, much love to you. Thank you, BBK, for moderating. continuing to give me coverage. If you're still in the room, I hope you are. And all of you. Once again, be careful who you're watching, where you're getting your information from. And let me see if there was just one other thing I wanted to show you. No. Okay. I covered it. Narrative, that. Oh, just a final thought. One final thought. We had a video analysis done collectively. Some of the YouTubers, some of the subscribers, and people following the case. And I'm going to be coming back with my findings on the report itself in my next segment, along with further evidence and further narratives regarding the case. Give more of a highlight as to where we are and to make this story make sense. And to let this story make sense, please. And then we'll have a discussion. I'll do a little bit, and then we'll have a discussion. I'll do a little bit more, and then we'll have another discussion, and so on and so forth. Because as I said, your interaction based upon the information given is very important. So I want to let you know that everything that you come across, I would love to hear your thoughts, your viewpoints, where you are in the case, and what you hope as a particular outcome. That would only make sense. So I'm going to jump over here in the chat room. I know I haven't been talking from the chat room, so I wanted to get my points across. All of them inoperable cameras hide employees too, which was never properly investigated either. Very negligent and sad. Fire Mama 411. I hear you. Be very careful. Be careful trying to obtain this type of footage. This is a high-profile case, and we don't want anything to happen to others reviewing. I hear you, BBK. Add up all the numbers. It's dark. But that's another topic. I hear you. Keitra Owens, thank you for your comment. You are 100% right about the narratives. That's why I believe the officer was told to say she was frozen solid. Carolyn Hall, you're right. I hear you. I agree with you. Is there any way someone can retrieve the real footage somehow? Diane Burdine. Yeah. Now she's asking the right question. Asking the right question because that's the right thing I would ask. Is there any way we can obtain the original footage? So not a copy, not all that stuff post the investigation, as we did receive and have analyzed. We want the stuff that originated as we started off this live. The raw footage with one timestamp. As the security officer would have seen it, we should be looking at the same thing. Why aren't we? Why did you change the format? Why did you copy this stuff and then hand it over to the Rosemont Police Department well over 48 hours over the time you found her? Why'd you take your time? What were you doing? Well, tonight we took a little bit of a glimpse as to what they may be doing, what they may have been doing, or what they may have done. Just a little bit. just to give us an idea. And so far, based upon my viewpoint of where I'm going and how I'm looking at it, we could see right through it clearly. Clearly. 45C Pete says you always come through, John Q. Great job to all of the content creators that have J4K in their hearts. Well, thank you, 45C Pete. I'm just going back up over the comments that I may have missed. Once again, much love to Boss Blake. Was in the house. All right, let me scroll back down. Thank you at BBK for this link for a good chat tonight, John. You're a good soul to recap and still want justice. Most of us. Well, thank you, Keitra. Thank you for joining us. John Q, much respect to you. Be blessed and stay safe. Until next time, Cold Pepsi, you too. Tanya Daniels, I've talked to Mama T several times, and I hope she takes my advice on what I've told her not to do with that evidence. Hey, Tanya, well, you got my email. Got my email. BBK says, I love John's commentary, his vision and outlook on this case. Too bad he's not the attorney representing the family. Well, much love to you, BBK. Much love for you to say that. As always, I look forward to hearing from you. Be informed, update with what's going on. Pepsi number 1. Shout out to everyone in the chat, BBK says. And yes, I say double shout out to everybody that that's joined us tonight. Outside of everything that you've been doing in your life and everything, hopefully staying safe, keeping the family well, keeping yourself together through this time of crisis, so to speak, and everything that we're about to get into. We have to keep our eyes and ears open because there are some people out there that are trying to control a narrative, whether it be for the Kenneka Jenkins case or anything else outside of this case. They're trying to control our attention to believe one thing. Okay. But we have to be mindful and stay very critical and vigilant as to what they are telling us, and to be sure to discern whether it's fact or fiction. Evidence plays a very important and crucial role in any physical event. Remember that. When you are examining evidence, that speaks so loud that anything said you really can't hear. Keep that little philosophy in mind. That way you don't spend too much time stressing out over a lot of the different narratives and information that's out there on various different channels. But once again, I cannot stop giving out accolades and appreciation and compliments, and much love to Boss Blake. Humongous D, you did a fantastic job. Jackie Dragon, a fantastic job. I will be sharing other content creators' content on my channel just to give you a glimpse as to what I've found about their research that clicks with mine, that makes coming together about this case since the beginning, where I came up with the idea of us coming together, means all the more of it being that important. Without the bashing and the clashing and all this other stuff, we all bring something to the table. All of us. It only helps move us forward rather than stifle us to stay ignorance about the same thing over and over and over again. So I have to give a big shout out to Miss BBK for holding it down tonight. Much love to her and her channel. Once again, BBK has got her own channel, and she covers the news, the now, and the network so to speak, in a way that's very informative, extremely entertaining, and from time to time, she will have you cracking up. She'll make you laugh. She'll put a smile on your face. So much love for holding it down for me tonight. You've been the only moderator. I believe that has really held strong to my channel, and I appreciate that. And all the moderators that have held John Q down, ask me questions, emails me, challenges me on certain things that I do present. I love that because that's the best way we can interact, best way we can stay informed, stay in touch, stay in touch. Yeah. BBK says, shout out to John Q for being the voice of reason and the clear eyes for those that have no clue what's really happening behind the scenes. I agree. I agree. And I thank you for your support and love too, Ms. BBK. With that said, if nobody else has got anything to say, I'm going to wrap it up. We're going to come back. We're going to continue our investigative series on the evidence and the narratives, facts versus fiction. Part 2 will be coming up very soon. I'm going to come right around the corner, and we're going to continue because I've got a lot to give you, and you'll find out what my information complements, who my information complements, and how our information is complemented by those that are out there really searching for justice. Once again, much love to Kenneka Jenkins's family, Teresa Martin, all that are dear and close to the family. Much love to you. Thank you for taking the time out to listen a little bit to what I have to say tonight. Cover a little bit of stuff that I've been covering. And all of the subscribers to my channel, much love to you and your family. Stay safe and be well. Stay blessed. With Godspeed. I'll be back sooner than you think. Thank you.